let's talk about this Music Business Worldwide article where they were talking about a freshly released study carried out on behalf of collection society PRS for Music shows that overall usage of music-only stream-ripping services in the UK increased by a whopping 1,390% in the 3 years between October 2016 and 2019. So, is this much to do about nothing, or is this a group that's concerned about a new era of Napster, LimeWire, and all that? So what's your thoughts, Sam?
Well, so my thoughts are that it's kind of a good problem to have. I know that's a controversial take. I know it's questionable to suggest that stream ripping and copyright infringement and all these things are actually healthy. But what it shows us is that there's a lot of demand for music and not as much access as the consumer would like. So the resolution here is something a lot more macro and a lot broader than what typically labels and rights owners are keen to usually suggest, which is clamping down, trying to shut these platforms down, which, to be clear, I don't support the infringement of rights. I don't support these platforms enabling people to break the law. But maybe it's a matter of the fact that the market is demanding something else and the law should follow or the practices should follow. And we know that the market moves faster than the court system or the legislative system in any country. Even the most progressive in terms of their copyright regimes. However, we know from the Napster era, we know from the LimeWire era, when you police downloads that tightly and make public enemy out of regular people, you ruin their reputation and you make it more of a problem. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. What you can do is encourage people towards a better solution. And that's frankly what streaming was intended to do, was take people out of this world of like, well, we can't access all the music we want. It's too expensive. It's not easy or intuitive. Well, here's a platform now that you can pay into access all the music you want. Still, there seems to be a problem of access. Granted, technology changes, phones become more prolific. We live in a future that we did not conceive of 10 years ago when Spotify hit our shores in the US and every other platform since then. I think this gives us an opportunity, if we look at it that way, to arrive at that next version. And we should start planning for that now, not trying to hamper ways to rip streams. People are just trying to get access to this stuff, trying to put it on a device and take it offline. And they just don't have that ability with YouTube or with Spotify free. Maybe there's a way to monetize that. Maybe there's a way to create opportunity. Maybe there's a way to pay artists for that activity, for that user who's not economically advantaged enough to pay $10 or $14 a month. I think there's an opportunity. I don't think we need to worry. I think we need to take advantage.
One thing that was really interesting in the white paper, and I'll put the link to the Music Business Worldwide article, which talks more about it and has a link to the white paper. The thing that they were really focused on in the white paper was not necessarily the damage it's doing to the industry, but the focus was on that, it is on an increase usage, but the thing they were talking about is that they were generating revenue. And that's what the concern was. And just going back to your last point there, where it was like, oh, well, is there a way to monetize this? Because if you shut it down, then it's like you're shutting down and all the kids are going to rebel and things like that. But if you figure out a way to monetize it, I mean, going back to, we never did it, but like in Canada, any blank cassette tapes, a blank medium had a tax on it that would go into the musician's pool. Okay, so there'd be some sort of fun. Right. So we never had something like that. But if there's a way to say, okay, we're going to legalize or work something out for these kind of services, but we need to, but the thing is, it's all built on, well, the music industry was built on crooks and cheats, but these kind of services are built on crooks and cheats. But then it's then saying like Spotify steps in or Apple steps in and says, we're going to lobby and not allow this to happen.
I think the important thing to remember too is that this is where YouTube started. YouTube was itself a stream ripping site. It was where bootleg content ended up for public consumption for free and was monetizing on behalf of the platform. And the labels eventually said, no, we're not doing this. But then Google's like, but we're too big to fight. You got to collaborate with us. You can't kill us.
Right.
And the result was now we have over $1 billion a year in new revenue that didn't exist for the record business before. we can do this. We have templates. Just have to think sort of orthogonally as opposed to directly the way that we used to.
Right. And even going back, like, this, again, none of this is new. Like, it's like not stealing, but taking whatever you want to refer to it as from, like, say, YouTube's back end. I remember Songza with Elias Roman, which was Amy Street, which he founded Amy Street, and then Amazon bought that, and then Amazon invested in Songza. But before he kind of took over in Songza, originally how they did their radio playlists were back end pulling the music off of YouTube. Mm-hmm. So if somebody queued up this radio station in Songza, it was actually pulling YouTube. When he came in and took that over, he cleared that all up. But this whole getting stuff from YouTube is nothing new.
Entirely. And I mean, like, look, it's the newest form of taping the radio. Popping a cassette into your radio, hitting the record button exactly when the song comes on that you want to have. Like, that's why we had the blank media taxes happen around the world, just because of that. We know how to do this. And it's like, I know that this white paper doesn't really gonna go into the risks or the penalties or the reactions, but every single person I've seen talk about these findings, which are really recent, and it's kind of only circulating at like the upper level of like philosopher kings of the music business for now. I hope it stays there, because those are the folks who are like, the old heads who remember chasing down Napster and grandma's downloading things they didn't realize. Like, these are the folks who could get it wrong if we let them. And I think we have an opportunity to kind of get ahead of those sort of contentious opinions and look at this not as a problem. I just hope that we can read this for what it is. These stats are what they are. They're not a bellwether or an omen of the doom and gloom of, the end of the music business part 2.
Right. All right. Thank you, Sam. No, this is really interesting. Oh, by the way, we spoke about this probably a month ago. Quibi, have you heard the rumors? They might be selling.
Oh, well, finally.
Yeah.
I was wondering at what point it was going to hit the fire sale. Yeah.
So it's, I mean, their comms team denied it, but I think it was Deadline of Variety has an article that it's starting up in the rumor mill now. So we'll see. I mean, they did just win 2 Emmys. So, all right. Thanks, Sam.